There are two different types of leader. A person can either be like a thermometer or a thermostat. A thermometer will tell you what the temperature is. A thermostat will not only tell you what the temperature is, but it'll move you to the temperature you need to get to. When it comes to tyrants, dictators and terrorists, strength and the threat of force is the only language they understand. The principles that should guide American foreign policy are simple. The world is safer when America leads, only strength ensures peace and freedom, and America must stand with its allies and challenge its adversaries. You cannot be the leader of the free world and sit on the sidelines and tweet and think you're going to get the job done. America needs education reform on all levels to expand quality schools, build on past successes, and lower college debt. Budgets are blueprints and priorities. There's a staircase on the first floor of the Capitol that I walk every day. It's made of marble, and as you walk those steps, you think of those who've walked before you. You think of the challenges that the country's faced. If Russia wants to use energy as a weapon against our friends and allies, let's use our resources to set them free. Black holes destroy any objects that happen to fall victim to their gravitational pull. When government growls, it breaks the family. When gross public debt exceeds 90% of GDP, economic growth tends to decline considerably. How we fund transportation in this country is broken. You all pay a gasoline tax, right? Well, cars go farther, we get electric cars, and so on. And then we do more with the money than just build roads. We do bike lanes and mass transit. I don't live in DC. I keep an air mattress in my office. Politically correct speech will not defeat the enemy. We pledge to you that we will create jobs, end economic uncertainty and make America more competitive. We will cut Washington wasteful spending and reduce the size of government. And we will reform Congress and restore your trust in government. Every sandwich I sold, the city got more sales tax, the state got more. But they came in and they would want to give me a ticket because I have a sign outside trying to get more business, right? When I think of the future, I think of my 15-year-old son Connor and my 12-year-old daughter Megan. I worry about their future because your kids are as important to you as mine are to me. And I am unwilling to leave our children with so much debt. Our government has failed us. From the billion-dollar bailouts to the stimulus package that failed to stimulate to the government takeover of health care, you cried stop. But the Democratic majority in Washington has refused to listen. I want a leader that sets out a path. I want one that doesn't just talk about cuts, but talks about the shining city on the hill. We're only going to get out of this problem if we grow this economy. My belief is you have one chance to make a first impression. I'm a conservative. I believe in the idea of freedom and liberty, but more importantly, look at my voting background. I voted against bailing out Wall Street. I voted against, never voted for, a tax increase. My family was not Republicans. I'm the youngest. I came to this party based upon choice. I believe the Constitution matters, that it's not just a few pieces of paper. I believe you can work with anybody. Everybody thought Hillary Clinton was unbeatable, right? But we put together a Benghazi special committee, a select committee. What are her numbers today? Her numbers are dropping. What you really want to do is sit down and find a place that you can control government spending and raise more revenue. Most accountants will tell you the majority of small businesses run as an S corporation. Small business creates more jobs than large corporations. We're going to have to control the spending of government. I started a deli when I was 19 years old. Kevi knows. The sandwiches at Kevi knows were a little like Subway before Subway, fresh baked bread. My best seller was turkey with cream cheese and artichoke hearts. I just made it up. My wife Judy and I have 2 kids, Connor, 17, and Megan, who is 14. My wife and I no longer worry about what we become, we are worried about what our children become. Energy is the issue I care most about. I think there are changes in the environment. There are a lot of items to contribute to it. I do believe in the free market. We know the Constitution gives the purse strings to the House. Many times, the Senate talks of things and never gets anything through. I believe any time that both parties are talking, it's a good thing. I think it's undignified if you don't do your job. Many times, we spend so much time on policy, but we don't explain how the policy affects and makes the heart even grow bigger. And I think that's a place that we have to look inside. I'm on record saying nothing about immigration until we secure the borders. The borders are not secure. After hearing from my colleagues, I have decided to run for Speaker of the House. Let's work together to make a difference for our country. If elected Speaker, I promise you that we will have the courage to lead the fight for our conservative principles and make our case to the American people. But we will also have the wisdom to listen to our constituents and each other so that we always move forward together. For years now, long before I became House Majority Leader, I have been passionate about foreign affairs because I believe that anyone who leads in Washington must appreciate the significance of America's role in providing for global security and prosperity. I met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, visited our allies in the Arab Gulf, traveled to Tunisia and Iraq, met with President Petro Poroshenko in Ukraine, and visited our allies in Germany, France, and the United Kingdom. The simple truth is that the implementation of Obamacare has hurt Americans and their health care more than it has helped. The facts are clear. Obamacare is failing the American people. I'm willing to fight, but I want to fight to win. In addition to billions in new stimulus spending that our country can't afford, the Geithner Plan also contains billions in tax increases on small and family-owned businesses while protecting the tax preferences of wealthy, multinational corporations. Small businesses already struggle to compete with big businesses that enjoy the luxury of a tax code filled with corporate loopholes. As any small business owner knows, starting a business is not glamorous work. America is a nation of people striving to make life better for themselves and for their families. Together, we can create something new, something bold, and something to act as a check and balance to Washington's out-of-touch agenda. As conservatives, we know our principles, and we also know the best ideas do not always come from Washington. I believe in a free market of ideas and not shying away from debate. In Washington, we've seen enough tax hikes, government takeovers, bailouts, and other big government solutions under Speaker Pelosi's control. It's not easy for the average family to ensure that their child receives a quality education. And the federal government is not making it any easier. When kids start school, families often have little choice over where they can go. Sometimes, children are forced into a failing school simply because their parents live in a certain district, and that school is the only option. Outside of the family, education is the greatest determinant of social mobility. Working at a restaurant is a tough gig. Life in the restaurant business can provide a start in the working world for young people or a stable living for many Americans and their families. Servers make very little in regular wages and largely rely on tips to pay the bills and budget for weeks ahead. Every American, whether Democrat or Republican, agrees that job creation and affordable energy will be crucial to our economic turnaround. Keystone will deliver 830,000 barrels of oil per day from Canada, North Dakota, and Montana to Gulf Coast refineries. Despite support from a majority of Americans, a majority of the House of Representatives, and a majority of the Senate, Keystone XL is stuck, stalled by special interest politics. I don't want to become Washington. Peace comes through strength, not through retreat. We can't be afraid to call the enemy what it is, radical Islamic terrorism. The gasoline tax is a user fee, but it does not fill enough of the need, and you want cars to be more efficient. The challenge has been, we make policy in the world of politics.